You were playing alongside Johnny Wilkinson in that back line for Newcastle. We all know what a special player he was. Was he any good on a night out?
Oh,
absolutely pathetic. I mean, you definitely don't. I mean, you don't want him on a night out at all. I mean, unless you're basically wanting to sort of sit in the slips, like get him to talk to a bird. It's incredibly boring. Then eventually, after about half an hour, he's like, "Oh, hello." I'll steam in with a tiny bit of like relatively reasonable chat, and win the day. Win it over. So
right. Well, hold on. Whilst we're on that, is this what you wear when you? Is this what you wear when? Can you see this, mate? Are they red loafers and? Mate, that's a boot cut chino as well. A pink boot cut chino.
And Ryan, I know there's no socks been worn with that as well. They go naked. They're naked on the toes. Yeah.
Very Mediterranean.
We have a few fashion faux pas in our life, and that was
we do.
Clearly not one of them, but there we go.
That's incrediable. I love that. Respect. Big respect.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, there we go. So that was all the fun. Yeah, that was actually a charity event that I hosted, and everyone came. I said everyone's come fancy dress. No one did, and nor did I. But I just looked like I did. I'm actually moving, lad. I'm going to move because it's just started to absolutely tip it down. So I'm going to
mate, get in the bus stop. Get in the bus stop.
Yes.
Genuinely, look. Here's the bus stop, and I'm going in it. I'm in the bus stop.
Oh, how good!
Look, I've just had a baby boy, 6 hours old. I'm sitting in a bus stop on the Pissendale Road. Thanks to you, lads. Love it.
Oh, amazing. Well, Ollie, look, we'll keep rattling through your career progression. You were progressing nicely at Newcastle. You then had an opportunity to make your international debut in Rugby Sevens. Weirdly, wasn't for England. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't invite myself along to this one, thankfully. But yeah, I mean, this is a cool story. So basically, when the World Series goes around the world, they for the teams that are miles away, Fiji, Samoa, New Zealand, Australia, they if they get any major injuries, they can't fly someone in lastminute.com. So they need what's called the 17th team. So they select a load of young lads that are playing, typically probably from London-based teams, so Irish or Harlequins or whatever, and you all sit on the 17th team. And the principle is that if someone goes down, if they get all the way down to eight players, they're called on the 17th team. And it never ever happens, right? Nothing ever happens, and you basically sit there for the whole weekend, twiddling your thumbs, desperate for an injury, but nothing happens. Cut a very boring story short, Fiji got to the semi-finals, down to 8 players. So we need to call on the 17th team. So they come to the 17th team, and I was like, well, they're not going to pick me. They're going to pick some other lad, surely. We're all sitting there. I remember there was a lad at London Welsh, Dan Connolly, and he was like, the proverbial off a stick. And for some reason, they didn't pick him. They picked the raffle winner, the grey-haired badger in me. And they said, oh, we'll have him. And this is gospel truth. So I turned up. I go into the Fiji change room, and they've got like Vuninbaka, Sarevi, all these greats of the game, all sitting there with them. And they're playing New Zealand in the semi, who've got Cullen, Lomu playing for them. Honestly, it was unbelievable. And there was I. And they gave my kit, and they had a 3XL top and 2XL shorts. I mean, I looked like a windsock, basically. like running. So the Fijian windsock that was Ollie, and obviously there's all these like huge unit Fijians, and then this little scrawny 17-year-old white lad in dressed as a windsock. So anyway, they play the game. Everything happens. They get an injury in the first half, so they're down to 7. They've got no one else. I'm like, okay, like next injury, I'm on. Like, there's no one else to come on. Or they probably think, actually, we're better off playing with 6 here rather than playing with 7. Bricking myself on the sidelines. 2 minutes from the end, I can't remember who it was. One of their forwards goes down for Fiji. New Zealand got a scrum 10 yards out in the middle of the field, and there's no one else. So they go, Ollie, you're gonna have to go on. So I run the field, and they put me on the wing. And as they put me on the wing, they swapped whoever was on the wing. Must have been Vuninbaka. They put him in the forwards, and I'm still on the wing. And I watched New Zealand swap Lomu to my wing. Obvious, right? I mean, they need to try to win the game. Who's this windsock? Lomu runs over anyone anyway. I think he scored like 19 tries in the weekend so far. So anyway, I know off the scrum, ball's coming out, it's going straight to him, and it's game over for me. Like, I'm just going to be a human speed bump. It's nice knowing everyone. Like, defining moment in rugby. Play for Fiji and get killed playing for Fiji. Anyway, ball goes to Lomu. And I promise you, he had like 30 yards outside, 10 metres from the line. And the bloke was a legend and ran back into the forwards. And I remember thinking, I've done you, mate. I've done you. I've done you. I've done you. I'm in your head. I've done you. Anyway, New Zealand won. They killed us. And as we walked off the field, we're all clapping and whatever else of that. And they go down the tunnel. And I sort of then wander around like a lemming in spare part because Fiji are out. I don't know where to go. I'm dressed as a windsock. And Lomu comes out of the changing room and he signed the ball and gives him the ball. He says, good lad. You know, so I can't remember exactly what he said. Like, basically, good lad, front up, like, good luck with the rest of your career or whatever else. And I still have that ball to this day sitting above my head. What a legend. So, yeah, mate. That was an iconic moment. Plus, totally bricked myself. So, there we go.
That is so good. What a story, man. That's amazing.
So, officially, my first ever cap was for Fiji, fellas, not for England. So, there you go.
God, I'm jealous.
Special cap.
It's a hell of a fact.
Well, Ollie, you were England's most successful England Rugby Sevens captain of all time. You led them to 3 World Series victories. Of all of those incredible successes, which one goes down as the greatest and why?
I mean, it's pretty tough, right, to top. You know, we beat New Zealand at Twickenham in extra time, and that was pretty special to do that, come back from where we did. Dan Norton sort of scored an absolute belter, and I think that was right up there. But all-time high is winning in New Zealand. Like we did the same thing, same year, a bit earlier on. We beat New Zealand in Wellington in front of 50,000 people. They went 19-0 up at half-time. Sorry, they went 17-0 up at half-time, and we beat them 19-17 on the hooter. And, mate, I can tell you now, you could hear like a pin drop in that arena. And it was made even more special because before this, I'd made this sort of, I don't know how I'd done it, but I created this like stupid habit of every trip that we went on, we'd try and make it a unique experience. So like when we went to Dubai, I'd met some bloke who had this unbelievable yacht and he'd taken all the lads out. We jumped off this yacht and had a wicked day. And then we ended up reaching the final for that one. And so I sort of made this point of trying to do it in every port. And when we got to New Zealand, I'd organised with the Harley Davidson owners group to come and pick the lads up on our day off on the Thursday. So I thought it was going to be like, 12 bikes turn up. We'll all go for a little poodle round New Zealand, round Wellington. And they do us a bit of a sightseeing trip and whatever else. Anyway, 38 Harleys turned up in the reception foyer in front, all like full leathers, skull and crossbones. I mean, it looked like the mob had just turned up ready to have a tear up in our hotel in the centre of Wellington. And we didn't have any other clothes. We're all dressed like total idiots with England like stash, England written across our backs. I mean, the Kiwis already hate us with a passion as it is, but like we're just making matters worse. Do this epic trip around the whole of Wellington, and as they drive back down the main street of Wellington, they all rev the absolute crap out of their motorbikes so loud that they set off every single car alarm as we go down the main street of Wellington. So we've obviously, not endeared ourselves to locals whatsoever, pissed them off even more. So as we run out for the final against New Zealand, they played like Dad's Army. They were chucking basically bottles of warm yellow lemonade all over us, whatever that was. It was just so hostile. And obviously it killed us at the beginning. We were 17-0 down. It was all over Red Rover. And then we pulled it out of the bag. And it's the only time England have ever done that. One in New Zealand, turned them over. And to do it against the ABs as well was, it was just so special. And I remember we went out afterwards and Rob Vickerman dressed up as Duff Man, the Duff Beer Man. So, I mean, really remaining sort of inconspicuous. But yeah, exactly, like a total knobhead. And we go out, and I thought, oh God, like as we walk in centre of town, it's such a wicked atmosphere after Wellington. The whole of the town is out in the mixer. And as we walk in, we're obviously all in our England polos, got nothing else. I'm thinking we're just going to get filled in here. And these 4 Maori lads walk over to us, massive. I think I'm dead, right? And this lad just walks over and he goes, fair play, sticks his hand out, shakes us by the hand, and then they buy it. They walk into this bar, and the bar won't let us buy a drink for the rest of the night. It was just epic. Like, I mean, work hard. They give us stick right up to the final whistle, but if you play well and they think you play well, there's all sort of respect given. So it was class. So that, in a long-winded way, New Zealand beat New Zealand in Wellington. That's the highlight.